Colombian-born lust murderer Luis Alfredo Garavito, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, is not a well-known name, even though the sheer magnitude of his crimes far surpass those of any serial killer the USA has ever produced. He is unofficially thought to be the worst serial sex killer of modern times. He was born in 1957 in Colombia. The youngest of 7 children, he was subjected to brutal beatings from his alcoholic father and regular sexual assaults from 2 male neighbors. He grew up to be an alcoholic, like his dad, as well as a depressive with suicidal tendencies. I should have said trigger warning. My bad. My bad.
Your own channel is a trigger warning.
My whole channel, that's rude.
For your face.
Okay. During a 7-year span starting in 1992, Garavito murdered no fewer than 140 boys between the ages of 8 and 16. He chose his victims, they were poor, homeless, and living on the street, and nobody even noticed when these boys went missing. Garavito would gain their confidence by buying them soft drinks, candy, and giving them small sums of money. He would also disguise himself as usually a teacher, a priest, a social worker, a representative of a charity, and all those positions being trustworthy roles in society, so the kids would trust him and go with him. He would then take them on a long walk into the countryside, and when the boys became tired, for some reason they still, even when they got tired and out in the middle of nowhere, they still followed him. When they became tired, that's when he would start his attack. He would tie them up with rope, then rape, mutilate, and behead them. An investigation was finally launched after 27 skeletons were found in a ravine. Soon after, 90 more skeletons were uncovered, and the police were led to Garavito, who was already in jail on a different murder charge. During interrogation, he confessed to 140 murders, each of which he had painstakingly recorded in a notebook. So, talk about evidence. He detailed every single crime that he did, which is so disturbing. I'm surprised it hasn't been published yet. People are sick and twisted like that. People would publish something like that for people to read. I would read it.
Of course.
It would be in Spanish, but I would read it. Colombia doesn't have the death penalty, or didn't at the time. I still don't think they do. And he was sentenced to only 52 years for his crimes, and I think he's actually out now, which is seriously disturbing. That he murdered 140 little boys, and he is, I have to double check on that, don't quote me. I think he is now out of prison. Hey Bella, what cereal do we have for Luis Garavito? Okay, we don't need all those theatrics. Okay, we're doing the, I don't know why, Pokémon. Pikachu. Pokémon by General Mills. Where's your bowl? Okay, so berry bolt and literal lightning bolts and Pikachu shaped marshmallows. These are orange. How much do you want? Take the spoon out, bro. It just smells like medicine. That's what it smells like. There you go. Okay, so lightning bolts and orange things. Where are the orange things? Also lightning bolts? That's weird. Alright, I don't know. What is that face for? You haven't even tried it. I know, this smells like medicine. Okay. We have to eat it dry. That's what she said.
Girl, look at like a pooter.
I can't help it. This bowl is so huge. Okay, ready? Can you stop? Hold the spoon like a civilized human being, please. Cheers. I want a lightning bolt. I want a lightning bolt. Marshmallows.
It smells like diabetes.
It's stale. Well, it tastes like every other sugary cereal with marshmallows I've ever tasted.
Herman Mudgett,
Yeah.
aka H.H. Holmes, was born in 1860 in a tiny town called
Gail Manton.
Gale-Manton Academy, New Hampshire. He was a very delicate boy, but also extremely bright and intelligent. His schoolmates also thought him to be very odd. His father was a devout believer in the Bible, particularly in the Proverbs verse, "He that spareth the rod spoils a child." So he showed his love for Herman by regularly beating him.
You know, back in the Bible days, that's what they did.
Of course. Throughout his childhood, Herman kept to himself, choosing to shun other children. He had only one friend, an older boy named Tom, but Tom died a tragic death after falling from an upstairs landing of a deserted house him and Herman were exploring. Herman was standing right next to Tom when this happened, and he clearly witnessed the whole accident. This probably did some damage to Herman's already fragile psyche. A friend was gone. That left Herman completely alone and open to constant harassment by the village bullies. One episode in particular left a lasting impression. One morning, two older boys waited until the village doctor was away from his office and then dragged Herman kicking and screaming inside. They wrestled him over to a real human skeleton that the doctor had mounted on a metal stand in a shadowy corner of the office. They took the skeleton's hand and ran its bony fingers over Herman's face as he was hysterically shrieking for them to stop. Then they left the office, locking Herman inside with the frightful skeleton. Herman later attributed this traumatic experience with giving his lifelong interest in anatomy.
Do you think that would be scary
No.
when you were a kid?
Did secret experiments on frogs, salamanders, rabbits, kittens, and dogs.
Oh, poor rabbits. What?
Kittens? After high school, Herman attended college in Vermont for a year. He then transferred to the University of Michigan at Ann Arbor.
Ann Arbor. Yeah, Ann Arbor.
Graduating with a medical degree in 1884. By that time, Mudgett had become an accomplished con artist who had learned how to scam insurance companies for thousands. He would take out...
Back then, that was a lot. But I'm just saying. Thousands was a lot back then. It's a fact.
Okay.
Fuck.
He would take out a life insurance policy for a fictitious person, acquire a corpse, claim that corpse was the insured individual, and cash in the policy. Because of these scams, Mudgett also became very skilled in acquiring dead bodies. Herman Mudgett appeared in Chicago but under a new name, Dr. Henry Howard Holmes. Within a few months of arriving, the charming Holmes had taken a job as a druggist assistant at a pharmacy in the suburb of Englewood. The drugstore was owned by an elderly widow named Holton.
That was her last name. Holton. Mrs. Holton.
No. Before the end of that year, Mrs. Holton had disappeared, and Holmes told curious customers that she, quote, had gone to California to visit relatives, end quote. So good.
Good job.
By the start of 1887, H.H. Holmes had become the new owner of Englewood Pharmacy store. Combined with the proceeds from assorted scams, allowed Holmes to start construction on a huge, magnificent new residence on the vacant lot across the street from his drugstore. The building exterior portrayed a lifestyle of wealth and good taste, while inside what existed was a madness and terror. The castle. It contained over 100 rooms linked by secret passageways, fake walls, concealed shafts, and trapdoors. Some rooms were soundproofed and padded with asbestos.
Back then it wasn't everything.
The doors having peepholes, so Holmes could see into them. Many were equipped with gas pipes leading into a large tank in the cellar. From a control panel in his office, Holmes could fill the chambers with poison gas. Chutes ran from the second and third floors to the basement, where there was a laboratory, complete with a dissection table, surgical instruments, and an oven large enough to accommodate a human body.
I mean, I wonder how much money all this costs. That sounds like
Thousands.
100 rooms, over 100 rooms. Like what? He was just building that for his house. Just for his house. Like who? That's insane. That's just insane.
His standards are high.
Yeah, but no one was like, what the hell is this dude doing? Like, Yeah, nobody does that.
Shortly after moving into this castle, Holmes rented out a section of his pharmacy to a watchmaker named Connor, who brought with him his beautiful wife, Julia, and infant daughter, Pearl. Before long, Holmes had made Julia his mistress. When she became pregnant, the outraged Connor packed up his belongings and left for good. Holmes, however, was not prepared for fatherhood, and he performed a crude abortion on Julia, killing her in the process. Then he murdered little Pearl with chloroform. Chicago's World Fair opened, and Holmes began renting out rooms to tourists. Very few of these lodgers were ever seen again. Throughout this period, local medical schools received a regular supply of human skeletons from Dr. Holmes. Since these skeletons were in such a high demand, there were never any questions asked.
Mm-hmm. I mean, where do you think they get those skeletons in doctors' offices from?
They're not real.
Yes, they are.
In everyone?
I mean, most of, yeah. Well, I mean, but back then, you know, before technology today, like how do you think they taught anatomy in colleges? I mean, they were desperate. They were desperate for cadavers because back then it wasn't like now where you can sign up online to donate your body to science when you die, you know, and give your body to science. I mean, so back then they were struggling to find actual cadavers. You know, now we can make fake bodies, like with like a 3D printer. I mean, it's, you know what I mean? But back then they needed real bodies. So and people weren't. It's not like they could just give up their bodies. So grave robbing was like rampant back then. Grave robbing. Yeah. So yeah,
Well.
disgusting. What's your profession? Rob graves. Dig them up.
Imagine
Salt the bones,
Imagine
light it
like-
on fire. Demons.
Imagine
Ghosts.
like going to go see your like grandma like at the freaking like at the graveyard and you see your science teacher like digging up a grave.
Nice. What about if you're a medical student and you're pull off the sheet to find out who your cadaver is and it's your grandma? That would suck even worse. That would be bad. That would be so bad. Okay, continue.
Holmes was finally caught in November of 1894 after killing his business associate, Petzel.
Ben Petzel.
Ben Petzel. He was planning to use Petzel's corpse to pull off his favorite life insurance fraud, but a few clever investigators were on him. The country was in shock over the revelation that Holmes had also killed 3 of Petzel's children. The country was in shock over the revelation that Holmes had also killed 3 of Petzel's children to cover up the scam. The murder castle wars didn't help either. H.H. Holmes was put on trial for the murder of Ben Petzel, and despite his proclaimed innocence, the jury found him guilty and sentenced him to death. Following his conviction, Holmes finally confessed to 27 murders through
Slow down. God, you're mispronouncing words left and right. God.
Following his conviction, Holmes finally confessed to 27 murders, though authorities believe that the numbers of the victims to be closer to 200. Herman Mudgett, aka H.H. Holmes, was executed by hanging on May 7th, 1896.
So what cereal are we doing for H.H. Holmes? Trix are for kids. Tricks are for kids. Tricks and trolls. Tricks and trolls. Tricks because of all the tricks H.H. Holmes played on his unsuspecting lodgers, the people that came and rented a room at his hotel. And can you imagine renting? Because we go to hotels a lot. Can you imagine? Like there being trapdoors and gas chambers and just chutes going right down to the incinerator for your body. Trap, you know, like secret walls and things like that. A peephole would just see an eye looking through the door. That's creepy. Ew, what the hell? That's so colorful. Wow. Oh my god, apparently you can make this box into a ukulele.
Ukulele.
I don't know. How? I am not sure. It says before you are ready to rock, you need to build your ukulele. What the?
Rock out with Poppy.
Poppy? Who the fuck's Poppy? Her. Why is this one glowing in the dark? Okay, okay. What are their names? Tiny Diamond, Branch,
Yeah, Branch is like the main
Queen
character.
Poppy, Queen Barb. What?
Oh, she's a Barb.
Queen Barb.
That's what Nicki Minaj's fans are called.
Barbs?
Barbs.
Why? Why?
Barbie.
You know what I think of when I hear Barb? That girl from Stranger Things. Remember Barb?
The girl who died in the
Yeah. Yeah, Barb. Barb.
I need to watch Stranger Things.
Yep. Anyways, yeah. What are the trolls from? They're from Frozen? Is that the Frozen trolls? I don't know what flavor this could
You
probably
have a marshmallow on the bottom of it.
There's cereal put in one box. There's so many different flavors
The
going on
marshmallows are unnecessary.
here. Dude, you got, I think these are melon flavored, then you got like strawberry banana, and then you have like, I don't even freaking know, man. There's so many different,
Does it specify?
no. There's so many different flavors going on here. I don't even know. It's so sugary. It's really sugary. I would eat it though.
Me too.
There's a lot going on. You get used to it after a second. I could eat it. He's in a sugar coma. Celery.
Doesn't-
Celery stat.
That's a really famous
How do you have the
person.
chance meatballs? We're actually eating this cereal. Like, we're almost done.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the Trix one isn't that bad. I don't think they make it anymore though. No. It's not even expired yet. Yay. The next serial killer isn't known for the number of victims. There were only 2, so technically he shouldn't even be classified as a serial killer. What he is famous for, however, is what police found inside his isolated farmhouse after he was caught. Things so horrendous they shocked the world, who had never seen anything like this before. Do you know who I'm going to say? Edward Gein was born in 1906 to an alcoholic father. Don't they all have alcoholic fathers, it seems like? Like every single one of them. Don't look at me like that. I'm not a serial killer. To an alcoholic father and a mother who was a religious fanatic. Ed and his brother Henry grew up on an isolated farm in Plainfield, Wisconsin, where their mother gradually went mad. Preaching her beliefs to her sons every waking moment, she believed that the world was full of sin and perversion due to the filthy vileness of sex. All women were wicked whores and cannot be trusted. Even though she was one. Just saying. Sounds like fun times. In 1940, their poor alcoholic father died of a heart attack, and they were left alone with their poisonous mother. Henry was resistant to her crazy teachings, good for him, but Ed was fully under her thumb and he worshipped her. Do you see where this is going? Then in 1944, Henry died on the farm under suspicious circumstances. He presumably suffered a heart attack while fighting a brush fire on the farmstead, but there were strange bruises on his head that were actually never explained in the autopsy report. So some think that Ed killed his brother for trying to escape the farm and their evil mother. So, but nobody really knows for sure. That's not mentioned very often in accounts of Ed Gein, but most people seem to think that he killed his brother. After Henry died, Ed had his mother all to himself, but not for very long, actually. In 1945, Augusta, that's Edward's mother, had a stroke. She survived, but was bedridden, forcing Ed to tend to her every need, all while she continuously ridiculed him. Why do some people put it, I mean, like he's just like his mom. Right away. So sad. It actually is sad. Every night, Ed would cry himself to sleep. Poor dude. Cry himself to sleep, praying to God to spare his mother's life. She had told Edward that he could never manage life without her, and he believed her. Sad. But God wasn't listening, because just a few months later, this bitch, she had an even worse stroke and died in December 1945. I mean, really, like, horrible. 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 Alcoholic. And then at 39 years old, Ed Gein was all alone. He was all alone. So that's, it was then that his descent into utter madness began. Ed had always been an odd loner, but now kept even more to himself, rarely venturing out into public. The times he did were to run an errand, perform some handyman chores, he did that for some money, or drink an occasional beer at Mary Hogan's roadside tavern. Now, when Mary Hogan, the foul-mouthed tavern keeper, and remember Ed Gein is made a religious fanatic because of his mother, and Mary Hogan, she's this foul-mouthed bartender owner. He probably didn't like that. She suddenly disappeared from her place one afternoon, leaving nothing behind but a puddle of blood. So, but no one thought to even question Ed Gein. His neighbors never imagined he'd be capable of hurting anyone. He was weird, he was odd, sure, but he was also quiet and respectful and polite, and no one ever thought he would do anything. Then Bernice Warden disappeared on the afternoon of November 16th, 1957. Her son went searching for her at the corner hardware store that she owned, but she wasn't there. What he did find, however, was a trail of dried blood leading out the back door of the hardware store, and the most recent sales receipt was made out to Ed Gein for some antifreeze that he had bought, and that was her last customer. So talk about leaving evidence behind. I mean, seriously. When police went to question Ed at his farmhouse, they came upon a horrific sight. He also made no efforts to conceal anything. Nothing. Like, just out there. You watched that show, Bates Motel, right? But yes, you did.
No, I never did.
Okay, they came upon a horrific sight. They found Mrs. Warden. She, the 58-year-old grandmother, was hanging upside down from a pulley hook by her heels, naked. She had been beheaded and disemboweled, and he was basically bleeding her out like a piece of cattle. Right? No, this is real stuff. This is true stuff, man. Like, I know, right? Okay, so the stunned officers, obviously, this is like shit you see in a horror movie. Literally, shit you see in a horror movie. Okay? The officers called for reinforcements, and soon after, over a dozen officers were exploring the farm of horrors. What they found, this is what they found, listen. Soup bowls made from the sawed-off tops of human skulls, chairs upholstered in human flesh, lampshades fashioned out of skin, a box full of noses, box full of noses, a window shade pole, a window shade, like blinds or whatever, a window shade pole decorated with a pair of lips, a belt made of female nipples. It sounds crazy, but this shit is real. And a shoebox containing preserved female genitalia. So vaginas, a box full of vaginas. Okay. Also, there were the faces of 9 women. Dried, stuffed with paper, and mounted on the wall. You know, like for decoration. And worst of all, a skin vest. It had been fashioned from the tanned. When I say tanned, I don't mean like a suntan. I mean like tanned, like how you do leather. You know, how a person, a tanner, that's what they call them, who makes leather. A tanned upper torso of a middle-aged woman, complete with breasts. Eddie later confessed that at night he would dress in these skin suits and prance around the house pretending to be his mother. Does this remind you of anything yet? What this is based off of, or what something's based off of this? Literally, it's a movie that yeah, okay, you'll get it. Eventually they found this freshly severed head of Bernice Warden, remember that was the hardware store owner, shoved under his bed. He admitted to killing the 2 women, Bernice Warden and Mary Hogan, but insisted that the rest of the body parts had been stolen from local cemeteries. For the past 12 years since his mother's death, he had been a grave robber and was trying to replicate his mother for companionship because he was lonely. I mean, I don't. So like he might have had multiple personality disorder because like obviously if he's putting on the skin suit for companionship, that's himself.
There's a Criminal Minds episode like that.
No, okay, so he was deemed mentally insane, obviously, and was locked away in a mental institution until his death from cancer at the age of 78. Ed Gein is immortalized by many, many books written about him and movies based on him, including the iconic horror movie Psycho by Alfred Hitchcock. Psycho, the famous shower scene, Bates Motel. You've heard of the shower scene, right? Like it's this, apparently this movie by Alfred Hitchcock was the first of its kind. And it was so, and it came at a time when there were no, so the shower scene, that really doesn't show anything. It doesn't show anything. It's this woman in the shower. She's at the hotel, at the Bates Motel. And you know who in the show, who plays, it's Freddie Prinze Jr., Freddie Highmore. Freddie Highmore. It's a really good show.
Yeah, I know what it is. I just never
yeah,
watched
it's
it.
so good. She's in the shower. It's in black and white. She's in the shower. And then he, what's his name? Norman Bates. Norman Bates is dressed up as his mother. In the movie, he doesn't wear a skin suit with boobies, but he has a dress on and like a wig or whatever that looks like old woman. And then he like is dressed up as his mother, and it's like the scariest. They said that this scene was so scary that there were people fainting in the movie theater, like women, you know, the whole, you know, passing out in the aisles and shit. And people were freaking the fuck out because they'd never seen anything like this before. And apparently Alfred Hitchcock fought so hard to keep this shower scene in this movie because the whatever the film association that gives films their rating, like rated R, you know, PG-13, whatever, absolutely told him, no way can you keep that in there, the shower scene. And it didn't even show anything. It was just this suggestion of that she was naked and the horror. And it didn't show, there's no blood in the scene, there's nothing like that, there's none of that. It's just the suspense and the build up to it, and people had never seen anything like that before. It literally blew people's minds. I mean, it was so, like, it was very progressive for the times. So it was really, you know, I mean, it's just, and it was like started to get banned at movie theaters and shit like that just because people were going nuts and passing out and fainting and throwing up everywhere and like running out of the theater screaming and thinking they were possessed, or I mean, I don't fucking know, but people were acting nuts. They were acting nuts. I think Alfred Hitchcock is a genius. I mean, just a theatrical genius. But Psycho is based, not loosely based on Ed Gein, and also Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is one of my favorite horror movie franchises. Leatherface wears people's faces. He has a chainsaw, but Leatherface. Anyways, I know you've seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No, I have not.
Oh, whatever. God, I thought I raised you better. Okay, when he died on July 26, 1984, his body, get this, was taken back to Plainfield, and he was buried next to his mother.
At least it wasn't like on top of her.
I mean, maybe it was.
Maybe like scooched over a bit.
His ass climbed out of the grave. Mommy dearest. I mean, that's fucking crazy. I don't know who advocated for that to happen, him to be buried next to his mother, but I don't know. Wow. They're both in hell together, burning for eternity. So anyways, that was Ed Gein. A box of noses and belts made of nipples. Yeah, I want to see pictures of that. I wonder if they have pictures out there. I want to see a box of noses.
More.
I want to see a box of noses. What does a box of noses look like?
A box of noses.
A box of noses?
You
What does
can't
that look
imagine
like?
a box
No,
of noses.
I can't imagine a box of noses.
You know what a chopped up
Because a
nose
nose
looks like?
is attached to your stuff.
They cut it from like here to here.
So no lip?
No lip.
That'd be funny if there's just a lip.
No.
It'd be like those glasses with the mustache and the nose. That's what it looked like. You should totally, that would be so cool. Yes.
Stop promoting murder.
I'm not talking about real noses. He had real noses. That's gross. So what cereal are we doing for Ed Gein? Ed Gein. Oh, we're doing this one. And it's because of his mother, his wonderful mother and wife, who I'm sure baked him apple pies all the time. A pie full of noses and vaginas. Oh my God, can you imagine a pie like with nipples on the top.
I'm gonna puke.
You ready to try this apple nipple pie cereal? There's only 9 ingredients: noses, vaginas, nipples, lips. I mean, the oats kind of look like a little like, anyways. Okay, so it's gonna be good. It's gonna be delicious. Okay, so I've never heard of this Larabar. It's like Swedish or something. I don't even know how you pronounce
Made
that.
from real food.
Cereal made
Instead of
from
fake
real
food.
food. Cereal made from real food. They're obviously foreign. Okay. Oh, that's like,
Dairy free. What kind of milk are you supposed to use?
well, dairy milk. Are you kidding me? Fucker. Has whole grain oats, honey, rice, sunflower seeds, dried apples, almonds, coconut oil, sea salt, and cinnamon. That's it? That's it?
9 ingredients, bro.
That's really it? I don't know if I believe that shit.
Literally.
Literally 9 ingredients. Oh, may contain sesame. Well, it didn't say that in the 9 ingredients. Just saying. Give me your ball. Doesn't smell like apple pie. It's kind of squishy like noses.
Why is it chunky?
Because it's more than 9 ingredients. That's why. It is in giant. It's like looks like what do you call that? Peanut brittle or something. It's like in big
You
chunks.
could eat this as like chips.
You could eat this like a snack. Look at how big these
flakes.
are. They flakes? I don't know, man. Why is it sticky? It's sticky. We're scared. We don't like anything natural or good for you. This sounds way too good for you. Stop. You want more? Nope. Here's your bowl of noses. Oops. Uh-oh. Dude. Right? Like.
I would not be happy.
Ew, it smells gross. It smells like horse feed. It smells like shit you feed to horses. Grains and things that they eat sticky
It
stuff.
smells like apple pies.
It tastes like
I don't want to try it now.
it tastes like a bunch of nature just all put together. It tastes like nature. It tastes like nature in a bowl. Super natural.
Super natural.
Super space natural. I can't even swallow it.
It tastes like it comes with spoiled milk in it. Like, not even the milk tastes fine, because it's milk, but the cereal tastes like it's spoiled milk.
It tastes like something you'd feed cattle.
It tastes like it could be like dog food.
Yeah. No, seriously. It's way,
Oh.
wow.
I'm gonna start gagging.
Simple, wholesome, delicious. You got the first one right.
Where's my trick?
Right? You can feel good about eating. I don't feel good, I feel...
It's disgusting.
It's really gross. I don't even know where we got
Why
this.
are you eating